Had the chance to catch up with Mick Cronin earlier. We had a great conversation. My phone started ringing in the middle of the interview. It was a whole thing. A really good guy. I think you'll enjoy it. Here it is. Coach Mick Cronin, thank you for being here, and congrats on the new job at UCLA. It's very exciting.
Very exciting. Been a little bit busy last 6 weeks, but it's all good. Just trying to meet and greet everybody in Southern California, so that's taken up a lot of my time. But we're on the quarter system, so I've had a chance to get to know the guys on the team, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, and obviously, and I live here in LA, it is a very, very big job. It's a very, very important job in this community, and it's obviously a huge job nationally. And with that, Coach, there are massive expectations that come with being the head coach at UCLA. Why do you think, when you look at the program and you know what you can bring to the table, why do you think this is a job for you and that you can meet those pretty big expectations going forward?
Well, I think the key here with the expectations is you got to focus on day to day. You got to try to make the program better each day and make sure that we're doing things to represent the university in the right way, on and off the court. Obviously, UCLA is a great academic institution, so we got to be part of that fabric as well. But I think when you talk about our history, our tradition, it can be overwhelming if you let it be. I think it would be foolish to try to compare yourself to anything that's going on here, especially in the Coach Wooden era. You got to stay focused on trying to be the best coach you can for the guys on your team, and then create the right environment for your team to have success. So I'm up to the challenge. I'm looking forward to it, and that's part of the reason I took the job. I wanted to take on the challenge.
Coach, you've worked under some very impressive, some legendary coaches, and I'll include played under your father when you were younger. Who are the coaches, big names or otherwise, who shaped you the most, and what are some of the lessons that you learned from those folks that you're going to bring into this job here at UCLA?
Well, so I've been a head coach now for 16 years. So I would say the obvious ones for the people listening would be Rick Pitino, who's like an older brother and close friend of mine. Bob Huggins, I work for as well. Jim Leon, I worked for at Woodward High School a long time ago. But in fairness, the guys that have probably helped and shaped me the most recently would be Darren Savino on my staff. I was hoping he would be the head coach at Cincinnati. It didn't work out, so he's the associate head coach here with me, hopefully for a short run while we get our program back to greatness, and then he becomes a head coach somewhere. But when he's been with me for a long time, so we've spent a lot of time together. So that would be the fair answer, because the people that shape you the most in your life are the people you're around every day. So the guys on my staff are the main ones. But yeah, the obvious answers to your questions. And then for myself, I got a lot of friends in the business, but a retired coach, Ralph Willard, who was at Western Kentucky, Pitt, and Holy Cross. His son Kevin's my best friend in coaching, but Ralph has always been a great mentor to me as well, along with Coach Pitino.
You said it. You have not looked for a job, searched for a job. You were the head coach at Cincinnati for a very, very long time. In a business where some people do that, we see some continuity. But obviously, for folks trying to better their careers and their families' lives and coaching as well, you have to move on a lot. That wasn't your path. So why UCLA? Why this job? Why now?
Well, I heard John Beilein say this last week. There's never a good time to leave because there's always fallout when you leave a job. So you have to get over that individually and realize that everybody's resilient, that you don't control the world. You don't have that much influence. Trey Scott, for example, at Cincinnati, who'll be their captain next year, he's going to be okay. He's a great guy. He's a great person. He can survive without me. You got to get over yourself. That was not easy for me. But that being said, why UCLA? For me, quality of life for my daughter, opportunity for my daughter. Always dreaming of what could you do if you were ever the coach at UCLA. Ben Howland's a friend of mine, followed his career very close when he was here, have a lot of friends in the Los Angeles area. And it's just, it's a new lease on life for myself. For me, professionally, the ultimate challenge to try to win the national championship at UCLA, to try to get the job done here. I'm one of those guys, so many people say negative things about maybe that job's too much, or the expectations are too high. I'm the right guy for the job, and that I do not listen to that stuff. So I try to formulate my own opinion, and I'll try to teach my players to do that as well. You got to define happiness and success for yourself. and you got to make decisions on your own. So the challenge of the job is something that really drew me to it.
Yeah, Ben Howland, great coach. I had the pleasure to work with him on television for about a year, and I was aggressively pushing him to go to the University of Missouri, my alma mater, and we did not make the decision we should have, and hired that gentleman while he was available. Great coach and a great guy. Speaking of a great guy, and I don't know him certainly in the way that you probably do now, but I've had the opportunity back in my writing days to shadow Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to interview him a few times. One of the most interesting people, not athlete, just one of the most interesting people I've ever been around. And you had a chance to have a lunch with him, which is a pretty nice welcome to Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? What did you learn about this program, or just in general from, for me, one of the most interesting people I've been lucky enough to be around a couple times?
No, I would agree with you on that. You know, Kareem is a special person. I think that we were able to bond when I had to spend some time with him, and then he came to another function at one of our supporter Rich Pacholski's homes, and Kareem made the time to drive all the way from Newport, which you understand. People maybe that don't live in LA don't realize that, you know, Newport up to 405 to get here is not the easiest thing in the world.
That's a terrible drive.
Yeah, so especially the time of day to be at a 6 o'clock function, welcoming me with a bunch of our supporters. But you know, I would say this, you know, Kareem, I think for the young generation, they know what he did as a player, but what he did as a person is what we talked about. And I told how much I looked up to him for what he stood for as a man, not afraid during the times that he lived in to stand up for what he believed in, and whether it was obviously equal rights, civil rights, and being free agency as a professional, and all the things that he was able to take on head on. And he's always a guy he's extremely intelligent and very intellectual. And I don't know if people really understand how many books that he's authored, and just the great alum he is for our university. I mean, when you talk about UCLA and UCLA basketball, I think what Chancellor Block would want people to realize is what a great university. Right now, the world's #1 ranked public institution. And there's no better example of a UCLA athlete, what they've accomplished in their life, not just in the field of play, but also obviously as a person, in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I agree with you. It's just getting a chance to be around somebody like him is a big perk of the job for myself.
Coach, I want to answer my phone and hang it up real quick. Hopefully that's not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar calling. I love this streaming TV live. I want to ask you about Sharif ONeal, his status, and just what a lift it can be for the program that young man wants to play at UCLA.
Well, yeah, Sharif's been through a lot, obviously. You know, I can't imagine what it's like to have to go through heart surgery at 19 years old. So just getting him back on track. My first week, I think he was allowed to start getting back onto the court where he could actually do basketball activity. And then he's got to build his strength and conditioning back up. When you're really shut down for 6-7 months of doing nothing. So he lost a lot of weight, but he's a very skilled player. But I think most importantly, people get to know him, especially the Bruin fans. He's a wonderful person. Sharif's just a great kid. I've learned that everybody I'm recruiting in Southern California knows him. Everybody knows Shareef. So he's like the Pied Piper of basketball players here in Southern California. So that alone will help us in recruiting. But he's just a great guy. But 6'9", extremely skilled. And as he gets his strength back, I'm starting to see flashes of what he can be as a player. So really excited about what he's going to become fall when he gets 20-25 pounds back on his frame that he lost through the heart surgery.
All right, Coach, last question for you. You mentioned that one of the advantages of Southern California and the business you're in is there's 2 NBA teams. And as a guy that has covered LeBron James back in the day, it changed my life. It transforms the lives of a lot of people. He has a gravitational pull that I think folks don't understand unless they're around it. Can that have an impact on UCLA basketball? Can the proximity of LeBron James impact you guys in recruiting and just the vibe of being in LA? Or as incredible as that is that just a separate thing from what you have going on?
Yeah, I would say it's separate, but talking about the NBA, you know, the half the NBA world spends the summer here, because it's the nicest place in the world where, there's no humidity. Why wouldn't you want to be in Santa Monica, Brentwood, where all those guys live? And they come over to UCLA to work out every day. So that's a great selling point. So whether it's, the fact that LeBron's here, there's a reason he's here. He figured out where he wanted to live. Where's the best place to live? So that's my recruiting. If you're going to come play college basketball, why wouldn't you come to the best place in the country to do it? So all the NBA guys are here. I would say more of, the impact for us would be all of our former Bruins that are around all the time. And they've already reached out to me, from Russell Westbrook on down the line, to guys like Thomas Welsh, that just graduated a year ago. It's already been back to our gym. Aaron Follows prepping to make a comeback for next year in the NBA. Having those guys around, and we have so many guys in the NBA that played here, rooting for Kevon Looney here in the NBA Finals. Those are guys, their impact will permeate through our program the most.
Yeah, Kevon Looney had a really big game. Coach, I really enjoyed it. Congratulations. As a guy that just moved back after 2 years in New York and 4 years here before that, it is, with all respect to the Midwest where I'm from, Iowa, Missouri, I love you. It is the greatest place in the world, and I'm very happy for you and your family. Thank you for making time on the show, and good luck going forward.
I'll see you in Manhattan Beach.